Now we're ready to read from the curriculum. After explaining the scientific concepts and the main problems and the concerns, when we read from the curriculum, things will be more clear to us. We got the curriculum in front of us right now, and it's available for everybody. And if you like, you can download your own curriculum from the website, the ministry's website, and follow with us page by page. We're going to start with grade 1. And we'll be focusing on the controversial ideas. And these ideas, they appear under section C, human development and sexual health. So this curriculum actually, it's an excellent document, because a lot of people said, do you think that the whole curriculum is bad? No, there are a lot of goods in this curriculum. When it talks about hygiene, when it talks about taking care of your body, when it talks about being athletic and exercise, when it talks about avoiding smoking and avoiding harmful substances, it's a great document, truly. But the controversial part, which is the human development and sexual health, is what we have serious concern on. And that's why some people say, oh, it's only 10% of the curriculum. It doesn't matter if it's 10% or 1%. There is a very dangerous idea presented to our children. Even if it's one sentence, we need to be aware of it. And it's the human development and sexual health. So we're not scrapping the whole curriculum. It has a lot of goods in it. It's the human development and sexual health is what we have a problem with, especially in certain ideas that we're presenting today, starting from grade 1 and ending in grade 8. And these are the same ideas that a lot of experts also found problematic and found controversial. In grade 1, age 6, page 93, the human development and sexual health, section C 1.3, it reads, identify body parts, including, and they start talking about the body parts in the actual names, where a lot of experts said there's absolutely no need to mention those names. And I will not be mentioning the names now here. You go back to the curriculum and read them, but they use the actual names of body parts. And what is the problem with that? It was reported that students, after learning these names, guess what? They went to the internet. A lot of them have access to internet, and they start searching these names. And when you search these names, guess what kind of information or pictures or images or websites will appear when you search the private parts names on the internet. So it encouraged students to go and know more. And as I said, students will not just stop at the name. You say, you're introducing a certain word. You think students will just take it and say, oh, thank you very much, that's good, now I know? No, they will, out of curiosity, would want to search more, would want to know more, and it will open a lot of doors for them to get involved and get exposed to ideas and images that they should not be seeing. And this is what's happening in grade 1. The question is also asked, how are you going to teach these words? While we know in grade 1 there are always songs, there are always videos, visual aids, games that are used to explain certain concepts and ideas. So if the intent is to make sure they understand what that word means, what kind of visual aids would be used? What kind of songs would be used? What kind of videos would be used? Some people would think that I'm exaggerating, but if you are exposed to education, you will know that I'm not. Sometime, some point, someone will go across the extra mile to show the students something and share with them more so they can understand more. In grade 3, age 8, under healthy relationships. So the concept of healthy relationships is being heavily introduced starting from grade 3, age 8. And I read from section C 1.3, identify the characteristics of healthy relationships. And they talk about accepting differences, they talk about being inclusive, communicating openly, listening, showing mutual respect, caring, and being honest. Describe ways of overcoming challenges of bullying, inclusion, and peer pressure. From the face of it, very good talk. And then we get to the teacher's prompt, and it says, consider different types of relationships with friends, siblings, parents, other adults, and think about the kind of behavior that help to make those relationships healthier. So from an early age, we're talking about relationships with other adults. Now, some people might say, or other adults could be teachers, other adults could be school staff, other adults could be uncles and aunts. However, it's left open and it's left loose. What are we telling children about having relationships with other adults? How is this being introduced? The person or the teacher that's introducing it, what is their understanding of a relationship with other adults, while we know that there are groups out there that talk about cross-generational relationships. We're talking about sexual relationships here. There are groups out there that talk about relationships, sexual relationships between adults and children, and they're asking for that. So does this open a door for such discussion? If a child asked more, or if a teacher has certain inclinations or certain beliefs, would they be discussing that kind of relationships? This is way too loose and this is way too dangerous. Again, it's not instructive in a way to prevent children from certain activities. It's leaving things open in general about having healthy relationships. In grade 3 as well, they talk about gender as a changeable and social construction. As we mentioned before, in section 3.3, page 124, describe how visible differences, skin, hair, eye color, facial features, body size, physical aids, different physical abilities, and invisible differences where they talk about learning abilities, skills, talents, cultural values, beliefs, and gender identity, and sexual orientation. How do we deal with such differences? And then they go on to explain that gender identity is anybody's right to choose their gender. I mean, it would have made more sense if they say gender identity is something discussed at home with your parents based on your values, which in reality this is what's supposed to happen. But no, they go and tell students, children, it's anybody's self feelings or anybody's sense of self with respect to their being male or female. This is what the children are taught in school in grade 3, age 8. In grade 4, age 9, they start introducing, or the curriculum starts introducing, the romantic dating idea. In the teacher's prompt on page 144 for grade 4, the teacher's prompt read, "What can change socially as you start to develop physically?" The expected answer to show the intention of the curriculum. Students will reply, relationships with friends can change because sometimes people start being interested in different things at different times. Some people start liking others. They want to be more than just friends and become interested in going out. So our children in grade 4, age 9, will be expected to say that children or students will start liking each other. They want to do more. They want to start going out with each other. They have feelings. I mean, again, this is directly related to conscious judgment and free will, which, as the teacher that we spoke about, Ellen Key, said, this is best taught at home, because liking each other, going out, again, relationships should be governed by the family's values and by the family's faith and understanding. So in reality, this should not be presented to children. The proper way of doing it probably is saying, people evaluate these things differently, they think of them differently. Discuss this with your parents. Discuss this with your parents. Encourage students to go home and discuss things with their parents instead of giving them information that could be in complete contradiction with their parents' values and with the children's values. Again, this is an infringement, an unaccepted infringement on parental rights, and it's opening the doors for students to discuss and evaluate and consider having relationships based on their feelings, which according to science, again, they are not in a position to understand, and they're not developed enough to make those decisions from a scientific point of view. In grade 6, they also talk about healthy relationships and, unfortunately, sexual practices, and excuse me to use that word, such as masturbation. And they clearly state in the curriculum in section C 2.5, page 174, increased intensity of feelings, new interest in relationships with boys or girls, confusion and questions about changes. So the topic is describe how they can build confidence and lay foundation for healthy relationships. And they're again discussing or talking about increased intensity of feelings. If children have certain feelings, they don't know what their feelings are, or if they don't have feelings at all, and we start discussing in class intensity of feelings, we start discussing in class interest in relationships with boys or girls, we are igniting that dormant sexual feelings in children and sparking the interest in knowing. This is why we said this is an invitation. Because yes, students see each other's behaviors. Yes, students hear about boys liking girls and vice versa and what have you. However, when a trusted authority, the teacher, is paving the road to relationships and talking about feelings and talking about, people start liking each other as if they're beautifying the idea to them, as if they're telling them from an official point of view, explore. It's done, it's okay, which is not the job of the school. If they want to talk about relationships from a scientific point of view, they should not be talking about beautifying it or talking about the feelings or talking about people doing this or doing that. There is a scientific approach to do it, and it's definitely not what's being used in this curriculum. Another one on grade 6, the teacher prompt. Things like wet dreams and vaginal lubrication are normal and happen as a result of physical changes with puberty. And listen to this, exploring one's body by touching or masturbating is something that many people do and find pleasurable. Now this is a complete disaster. It's a complete disaster. We're crossing all the boundaries and all the lines. We're not just telling them scientifically this is how your body changes. Scientifically, these are the symptoms or these are the changes that you might appear in your body. We're actually telling them that these actions, these sexual actions of the body exploration are normal, and by doing that, many people do it and find it pleasurable. For God's sake, you're telling a child, here's a piece of candy, and many people find it very appealing and very sweet. Would it make sense the child would say, give me, let me try it? Why are we telling students in grade 6 that such sexual actions are pleasurable, and many people do it and many people find it pleasurable, and it's normal? This is not the school's job. We are crossing all the boundaries again and again. We're going against science and putting the wrong decision, or putting the decision in the hands of the children that are not ready to make such decisions.